Welcome to the podcast, Empowerment for Women. Women's economic empowerment refers to the ability for women to enjoy their right to control and benefit from the resources, assets, income, and their own time, as well as the ability to manage risk and improve their own economic status and well-being. It's time now for women to fight back against stereotypes that they are uneducated and ignorant. It's the desire of empowerment for women to offer unbiased facts and figures to be used by the empowered woman to bolster her opinion, regardless of what that opinion shall be. Let's talk about identity politics. Are you a Republican or a Democrat? Canadian YouTubers Mitchell Moffat and Gregory Brown posed this question: which brain is better, Democrat or Republican? And this is what they said.
The world feels pretty divided. Currently, 81% of both liberals and conservatives have unfavorable views towards those on the other side. But is there actually a fundamental biological difference between liberals and conservatives? On the surface, we can see some funny differences, like conservatives like meat and potatoes more, while liberals tend to like trying food from other cultures more. In general, conservatives prefer purebred dogs, while liberals prefer mixed breeds, and liberals are okay with free verse poetry, while conservatives prefer it to rhyme. But as we study more, we realize that the differences are much deeper. When put through MRI brain scans, it turns out that liberals are more likely to have a larger anterior cingulate cortex, which is associated with understanding and monitoring conflict, while conservatives have a larger right amygdala, which helps process fear and anxiety. And that makes sense, given the years of research that have shown people tend to become more conservative when they feel threatened or afraid. After 9/11, for example, the US became politically more conservative, with studies showing increased support for issues like national security and military spending. But studies have also found that conservatives and liberals employ different cognitive styles. Conservatives excel when it comes to more structured and organized problems or questions, whereas liberals tend to be more flexible and less likely to commit errors with questions involving conflicting information and requiring fast reaction times. One study looking at dorm rooms even found that, on average, conservative students' rooms were less messy than liberals. But they also experience pain in different ways, so much so that one study was able to predict who was liberal or conservative just by viewing brain scans of them looking at graphic photos containing mutilations. In this instance, liberal brains were more active in the S2 or somatosensory 2 region, which is normally activated when you're in pain, but also when you see someone else suffering. It's essentially scientific evidence for the bleeding heart liberal stereotype, which doesn't mean conservatives are uncaring, but that their minds just respond to graphic images differently. In America, this can explain how Democrats and Republicans perceive the world in fundamentally different ways. It's difficult to grasp how someone on the other side of politics thinks because we tend to overestimate the extent to which our opinions, beliefs, and values are normal. Psychologists refer to this as false consensus bias. For example, if you heard Yanny in the Yanny versus Laurel debate, it may have felt that you were the normal one and it was insane that anyone could be hearing Laurel. Apply this logic to politics and you can see why people have such polarizing ideas on issues like immigration, abortion, gun rights, etc. But where do these differences come from? One study revealed that genetics can account for around 30 to 40% of a person's political leanings, which may seem like a lot, but there are still many other important factors like your environment and personal experiences which play massive roles in your politics. Political neuroscience is a relatively new field of study with fascinating results, and in a world that's being increasingly characterized by its divisions, perhaps an important aspect of unity involves using neuroscience to better understand each other's differences.
Thanks for listening to For Women, a podcast dedicated to empowering women.